It's the Sunday Morning Currents with SSVEC, Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, owned by those we serve.
Hello, I am Kate Cox, Social Media Coordinator for Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. I am very excited about our new show called Currents with SSVEC. Here, I get to chat with the SSVEC team about safe, reliable, and affordable electricity. Today, I have the opportunity to meet with some really exceptional gentlemen from Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. We have Mr. Ron Lee, he's our Vice President of Finance, and Mr. Jason Bowling, our Chief Executive Officer. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
First, I wanted to say congratulations to you both on the annual meeting. In Wilcox, for those of you who missed it, the SSVEC annual meeting was held June 27th, and there were some really great things that happened.
Yeah, well, I guess going in order, we started off with a tribute to Kathy Thatcher. She's a now former director, but for 24 years she was on our board of directors, and just a wonderful, true community servant. One of the directors that was on the board when I was hired, so I've got a little special kinship with her, I guess, because of that. But beyond that, she just did so much for her community, and she tells this story in the opening video about being there when her home was first connected to electricity. I won't say the year, but years ago, and taking lemonade to the linemen as they're setting up the poles and bringing electricity to her home. So it's just a wonderful story about from childhood to directorship. She's been involved in the co-op.
We also at the meeting had some large rounds of applause, so that was really exciting to have everybody getting into it, and a couple standing ovations. One of the projects that I'd love for you to share about got one of those standing ovations.
This is called the Light Up Navajo project. It's now, and it's wrapping up its 5th year. But this was the first year SSVEC participated. And a lot of people don't realize this, but 14,000 homes are estimated to be without electricity on the Navajo reservation, most of which is right here in Arizona. That accounts for 75% of homes not connected to electricity in the entire country, right here on the Navajo reservation. And so a few years ago, the Navajo Tribal Utility asked utilities for help. In a sort of mutual aid program is what we call it, asking utilities to come bring their labor and bring their skill and bring their talents. The tribal utility, either through donations or through their own funding, provides the materials. And then these utility workers from all over the country, as far away as Delaware and Vermont, travel across the country to come out here to the Navajo Reservation to connect these homes and community centers for the first time ever. And so we sent a crew of 6 people out there to connect homes and build line. We got some video and shots of that and shared that with the crowd. And while the video was playing, we brought out the linemen and instant standing ovation. I mean, I had prepared remarks that I didn't get a chance to say because the crowd just erupted in applause. And then Jacob Scholl, the foreman of that crew, came up to the microphone and he described connecting someone who for 75 years of her life had never had electricity and now, thanks to their work, has it. It's just a wonderful story. It's also great training. Now, this is not the primary intent. It's great training for the linemen to go out there and see something that most line workers today don't get to experience, connecting someone for the first time. Usually they're upgrading lines or repairing damaged lines, that sort of thing. This is something totally different that has not been experienced by a lot of line workers for generations. And our folks got to do that. They came back with this kind of refound zest for the work they do, which is really cool. So we absolutely intend to participate again in 2025.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a really emotional experience, not just for the crowd, but for the linemen who got to do that. I know watching that video, it had been my second time watching it, and I made sure I had Kleenex because it was just so impactful. You covered a lot, Jason, but there was a big announcement that you also did at the annual meeting. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
So some listeners may recall that SSVEC and a lot utilities across the country have been, over the last couple of years, facing increasing natural gas prices. Natural gas is a key ingredient in the electricity we provide. It's not the only generation source, but it's a really critical one. Somewhere around 40% of American electricity is generated by burning natural gas. And so it may seem odd to a lot of folks, well, what does gas have to do with my electric bill? That should be on my gas bill, right? But no, we're using natural gas to fire generators that provide a lot of the electricity in the country, and prices spiked in late 2022, and it carried through into 2023. It put us in a situation where SSVEC had all of a sudden incurred $25 million in debt virtually overnight. And so that massive spike in cost, that's a lot of money for us. That's a whole lot of money for us. And we're supposed to maintain a fuel bank balance because this is the cost that rolls straight through to our members, a fuel bank balance of plus or minus $3 million. Well, when we're $25 million in debt on a bank that's supposed to be in a bound of $3 million one way or the other, that's a real problem. So our staff, Ron Lee here with me, is one of the brilliant folks that helps support and facilitate this idea of taking our 2022 operating margins and plowing it into that fuel bank debt to help buy it down. Other steps, lots of other steps. So the buy down, the financial hedging we established, the solar generation facilities, all these things led us to a place where we could finally eradicate that fuel bank debt. And as of June 1, we were able to say no more fuel adder on people's bills. So we reduced it to zero.
But there's more.
I was waiting for that prompt.
But
That's right.
there's
more.
But
there's more, right? We actually, thanks to favorable market conditions, we were able to turn the thing negative. So we went from zero to a 1 penny credit. Now, 1 penny may not sound like much, but for a home using 1,000 kilowatt hours over the course of a month, that's pretty significant. I mean, it's effectively a 10% discount off of what they would have seen in June through the rest of the summer. But comparing it to last year, it's so much more. It's a real significant savings for our members.
Jason, thank you so much for explaining that to us. And Ron, I was hoping, can you talk a little more about this credit and what does it mean for our members of SSVEC?
Very happy to, Kate. This has been priority one for SSVEC. From our board to the entire management team, this has been something we've been really actively tackling. We're proud of where we're at this point. To put it in context, though, June of this year compared to June of last year, if a household used 1,000 kilowatts, like Jason mentioned, it would be a savings for that member of approximately $40, very substantial amount for most household budgets. And of course, that's not the entire story, because of course we have many commercial members, we have many farmers, so their credits or their savings would be even greater.
And can you elaborate a little bit on the strategies that contributed to implementing that 1 cent per kilowatt hour billing credit we've been talking about?
Well, it was a multifaceted strategy. Jason mentioned the application of our $8 million in operating margins from 2022. That slayed roughly 40% of the $25 million that we were under collected by year end of 2022. That step alone really helped tackle a big portion of that problem, but that wasn't where we left it. We also formulated a hedging strategy over the last couple of years that we're starting to realize the benefits of. That's also come into maturity, and we're really seeing the savings from that hedging project. And lastly, of course, have seen many of the projects that we've had in place coming online, such as our second 20 megawatts solar array plus battery storage. We have seen these fixed costs are much less than what we were seeing with the market volatility that we had in 2022 and 2023.
The credit goes to really our team and our partners at APCO. I've been saying we need to slay this dragon of high energy prices, and our knights in shining armor are our team, really the finance team, partners at APCO, our senior VP of operations, Daniel Wilson. All these folks work together to really come up with some brilliant strategies. And it's more complex than the average person really wants to spend time thinking about, but the prices from minute to minute vary on energy. If we can leverage those batteries to store energy when it's cheaper, and we can run our solar when energy is more expensive, and then we can discharge those batteries when the energy gets a lot more expensive in the peak hours right before sunset, we end up saving our members a lot of money. So it's a lot of technology deployed on the system and really complicated engineering work to really make it all work. There's a lot of brilliant people that work within this organization that pulled together to slay the dragon, right? And so now we're enjoying really great results because we're able to see this discount on members' bills through the summer months when they need the most. It's huge savings that's blanketed across our entire area that's going to have some economic benefits for our entire community.
I love that you give that kudos to the team. That we have this really great cooperative that works together to figure out what works best for our members. Jason, what else is SSVEC doing to control costs?
Well, so that's a challenge, right? And what we've been talking about so far is all about our wholesale power costs or wholesale energy costs that rolls directly to the membership. There's also operating costs. So the employees, those wonderful employees I talked about, the equipment that they need to do their job, all of those things have been increasing in price. We've not increased our rates since 2016. That's 8 years that we've not increased our rates. What other business out there can operate on the same price for 8 years? We've managed to do that It's a lot of creative cost controls and very careful investments and really a lot of hardworking people that come up with some great ideas to help us control our costs. But we can only hold that back so long. So I did announce the unfortunate news that we've hit that point now, 8 years in. We've got to study our costs, and we got to make sure that we stay in the black so we're covering all of our expenses, not leaning too heavily on lending so that we can keep our costs low for long term, and so we can invest in maintenance of our system, because a well-maintained system is safer, more reliable, and in the long run, it becomes more affordable too.
Which breaks down our mission right there: safe, reliable, and affordable electricity for our members.
100% agree. When you look at the horrendous wildfires and other situations that happen when a system is not well maintained and is not resilient against the weather, bad things happen. And so our team has this mission of making sure that we maintain safety, reliability, and affordability through a very strong maintenance program. We're really proud of the work that our people are doing. I mean, they're really brilliant. They're really hardworking. You might have heard about the drone inspection programs that we did last year. They're going out and looking particularly in high fire danger areas where there might be things that can't be seen from the ground. Having a drone over that gives us a cost-effective way of identifying problems and then prioritizing those problems and sending the crews out to go to work on it. So we've got lots of work to do, but we've got the right team.
Two of you from that team are here with me today. Thank you so much for joining me, Ron Lee and Jason Bowling.
Thank
you very much.
Here is what's going on at your cooperative and in your communities. Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative is encouraging teachers and educational entities to apply for Phase 3 of the SSVEC Foundation Teacher Microgrants and Educational Entity Grants. Applications are due October 1st, 2024. SSVEC Foundation offers microgrants of up to $500 for teachers and up to $20,000 to educational entities across the SSVEC service territory. Entity grants support larger scale educational initiatives or projects benefiting the region's youth. Community Relations Manager Kristen Gray will be visiting schools in the SSVEC service area. She will share how your children can prepare for youth programs like the Washington Youth Tour application process and next year's Yes Fair. Washington Youth Tour winners will receive an all-expense-paid trip to Washington, D.C. in June 2025. Students attend educational seminars sponsored by the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. They visit state representatives in the White House and learn all about our nation. The Washington Youth Tour application process begins in September 2024. For more information about our youth programs, please visit ssvecyouthprograms.org or email ssvecyouthprograms@ssvec.com.
This has been Sunday Morning Currents with SSVEC, Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, owned by those we serve.